Tonight we are welcoming Mr. Brian Watson. Brian is the founder and president of the Denver-based North Star Commercial Partners, which is a privately held commercial real estate company based out of Denver. It was founded in 2000. North Star acquires and operates attractive commercial real estate opportunities throughout the United States. The investor base itself consists of individuals and institutions with a combined power of several billion dollars. So it's real stuff here. Brian received a Bachelor of Science degree in real estate from the University of Colorado at Boulder before joining Cushman & Wakefield of Colorado, an international commercial real estate firm. In addition to going on to found and operate Northfield Commercial Partners, Brian also founded the Opportunity Coalition, which is a 501c4 that promotes and facilitates a business-friendly environment, which encourages free enterprise, entrepreneurship, and collaboration. That is located here in Colorado. The organization's goal is to create more opportunity, quality employment, and connections for Colorado citizens. Mr. Watson also serves as a board member of the Colorado Commission on Family Medicine, where he was appointed by the governor, and he's a leadership council member for the Colorado National Federation of Independent Business. Brian is passionate about creating opportunity for all citizens of Colorado and works to enhance its business, political, and educational environments. So we're so excited to have him with us tonight. He's not only a liberty advocate, but he's a real in-the-blood entrepreneur. So let's welcome Mr. Brian Watson. Thank you.
Good evening. I want to thank everyone for having me here tonight, and I especially want to thank Amanda, Justin, and a guy named Joe, right? Guy named Joe, for founding this great organization. I also want to thank the Independence Institute, and it's wonderful that they have created this environment down here where we can come and meet. First of all, I don't know if I'm worthy to be a keynote speaker. First of all, I'm one of you. Anybody in here care about this little thing called liberty? That was pretty anemic. Does anyone in here care about liberty? If we did that well in the second time, let's do it one more time for fun. Does anyone care about liberty? Who cares about entrepreneurship? Anybody? Good. Are any of you entrepreneurs right now or business owners? Raise your hand. God bless you, every single one of you. So I'm one of you, first of all. Second of all, I don't own precious metals that I know of, and I really don't know about all those coins. I don't think I have any of those, so I feel kind of lacking as your keynote speaker. And I haven't had 6 Jack Daniels either, so I just feel a little bit lacking coming up here. But all that being said, I am truly honored to be here. Oop, dropping stuff. Something struck me about the tagline for the Liberty Labs event. Launch your liberty advancing idea this spring. The time is now. The time is now. Let that sink in for a moment. As humans, oftentimes, we're really good about pushing things off into the future. The time isn't convenient. Or maybe I wasn't meant to do this. But the time is now. This may be the heart of the entrepreneur spirit. To truly unleash the entrepreneur within you, you need to take action, and there is no better time than right now, this evening. The latest jobs report was abysmal. Some of you may have seen that. The nation's unemployment rate continues to highlight the huge number of Americans who are either out of work or working part-time jobs just to get by. I met several of you tonight, some individuals who haven't been employed in 6 years. That's the state of our economy. Our children continue to fall behind in school compared to other developed nations, and we are plagued by issues like drug abuse, alcoholism, and the crimes that come with them. The time is now. Those bad news stories don't feel like America to me. If you are like me, and I'm guessing by your being here that you are, especially on a Friday night when you could be doing other things, there's nothing more fun to be doing than here right now, right? Just want to make sure. I still see America as that shining city upon the hill, as Ronald Reagan so wisely stated. I still believe that real innovation happens better here than anywhere else on earth. I've been blessed with the opportunity to travel a good part of the world. And I try to tell people that what we have here isn't reality for a good part of the world. You see, I'm a believer that we won the historical lottery to live where and when and how we live today in the United States of America. Even when it's tough, even when our government is taking too much control, we are blessed to live in the United States of America. And don't ever forget that. And don't take it for granted either, I encourage you, because there are a lot who are. Our way of life could literally be taken away and changed within our lifetime. Look at the great empires. They never expected that the gates would fall, that people would come in and pillage, but it happened time and time again. History is replete with it. And I firmly believe that it is people like us, regular people, and I emphasize regular, who are willing to take on the risk of doing something extraordinary that can create a better future for all of us. I grew up on a small town on the western slope, Olathe, Colorado, known for its sweet corn. Do I get a hooray for Olathe? Come on. Has anyone been to Olathe? Thank you very much. Is that the 6 Jack Daniels talking, or is that really you've been there? Okay, we'll go with it, you've been there. If you go through Olathe, it's a pretty small town. It is beautiful country. My family still lives over there. And for those of you who grew up in a rural community, you know how lessons learned in farming and ranching apply here as well. It is that idea that the time is now, especially in the time of year that we're at right now. My animals, I raised horses, pigs, and sheep. They couldn't wait to be fed. Feeding time happens the same time every day, whether it's a holiday, whether there was bad or horrible weather, or whether I just didn't feel like it. The animals depended upon us. The seeds that needed to go in the ground in the springtime, you couldn't wait till it was just a bit warmer, or get done with school, or someone comes by to do it for you. You had to get out there and do it. The work that needs to be done on a farm runs on a cycle. And waiting? Well, waiting only applies to the harvest. The ground needs to be tilled, seeds planted, weeds pulled. We know some weeds in society that might need to be pulled, maybe. We'll put that in the Q&A later. Fertilizer applied, pests removed, and water, water, water. You can't wait. It all needs to be done now, today. So I want to thank you for taking action, for making the commitment to bring your vision to reality by participating in this Liberty Labs program. The Liberty Labs program is all about helping you take action now. It is about clearly articulating your mission, getting your plan in place, and knowing step by step what you need to do to be successful. I've worked hard in my life. I didn't come from money. I came from a family that taught me about things like blessing and hard work and getting up out of bed in the morning and going making something of your life. That we weren't entitled to anything. You're entitled to get up out of the bed in the morning and go make something of your life. And that government out there was not the one who was supposed to do it for you. And that dignity comes from you doing it yourself. It's not easy. It's oftentimes hard. Some calluses involved along the way. But it's worth it. I can tell you, taking action now is a key part of successful entrepreneurship. A great idea can't wait. If you wait, someone else may beat you to it. The market can change over time, and the opportunity is lost. Whatever holds you back, and again, humans are the great rationalizers, right? Probably have a million excuses of what might be holding you back. You will likely look back and be very sorry that you did not take the chance. I brought my little folder here, and for over 20 years, I have kept 2 quotes in this folder. Not a lot of people get access to this folder, but I'm going to share the quotes with you because I think it's important that you know what drives me on a personal level as an entrepreneur. And oftentimes when I'm opening this up, I have to look at it because I'm in some pretty tough meetings where people are telling me no, telling me why it can't be done. Anybody ever had anyone tell you that? Yeah, yeah, I got you there. And so the first quote that I'd like to read for you comes from Shakespeare. I wanted to be an English major in college. I didn't get the chance to do it. But it comes from Measure for Measure. And the quote is, sitting right here for 20 years, "Our doubts are traitors, and makes us lose the good we oft might win by fearing to attempt." I'll read that again. Let it sink in. "Our doubts are traitors, and makes us lose the good we oft might win by fearing to attempt." Look back in your life. What are some things that you might have attempted that might have you in a different path right now? Kind of reminds me of that movie Yes Man. Anyone ever see that Yes Man? Now, he took it a tad to the extreme. Yes, I want to learn Chinese. Yes, I want to drink 50 Red Bulls, whatever it might be. But there's some good lessons to be had in that movie. See, we're so trained to say no. We're so trained to be beaten down by our government, by all the negative people and advertising that's out there. Go out and do it. You only have one life to live. At the same time, while waiting can be bad, rushing forward without a plan isn't the right approach either. You need to define where you're going and how you're going to get there. You need to know the people and resources you're going to need. You need to figure out how the thing will operate, whatever that thing is for you. And you need to know your brand and marketing. It is worth taking this time to do all that up front. I have been an entrepreneur in business, in my work in the community, and in Liberty efforts. Just a quick background, in addition to North Star, which I founded, I used to be a broker with Cushman & Wakefield, Colorado. And that environment of having to go out and hunt and kill to eat was a good environment for a young guy to grow up in. In fact, my first place that I ever bought was over here at 17th and Ogden in Capitol Hill. And I didn't have 2 pennies to rub together. I literally didn't have any furniture. I got a mattress from college that I laid on the floor. So I'd have friends over, and I'm like, "So do you want to sit on that corner or maybe on that wall over there?" I had a frying pan. I cooked out of it and I ate out of it. I was poor, poor, poor. I mean, it was tough. I used to go, this is kind of a little strategy as an entrepreneur, I'll just give you a little secret if you want to save some money. Because I was so poor, I would figure out, okay, well, if I skipped breakfast and I skipped lunch, but I went to the all-you-can-eat Chinese buffet right over here next to Marsacks. It used to be a Chinese place there. If you'd go there about 2 or 3 o'clock and you just stuffed yourself, that you wouldn't have to eat dinner either. And that's how I lived. I don't think it was very healthy. I probably have enough MSG in me that I'll be, stuffed, cured for a long time. But that's what entrepreneurs do, right? I had a dream. And my dream was to become a broker, learn the business, meet the right people, and then one day start my own company. And I did so. My wife and I had a young child at the time. We were newly married, inherited all of our college debt because our parents couldn't pay for us to go to school. My first job, by the way, I like this one too, when I went to Boulder, because I came from the Western Slope, didn't know any better, was to shovel stalls. There was a barn out in the north side of Boulder, and I would go shovel horse stalls because, well, that's what I knew how to do. And that's what I had to do because I had to put myself through school because my father had passed away. So my point is, there's always obstacles. And I would encourage you to embrace those obstacles. Most people try to avoid them. Give them a big old bear hug. Why not? Right? You only got one shot. Go out and do it. And we all have obstacles. Money is a commodity. You may say to yourself, well, I have this great vision. There's a gentleman over here who's looking at going on Indiegogo to raise some money. It's a great platform. If you have a good idea, if you have a good vision and commitment, money will follow you. Money will come alongside you. Money's always looking for a home. It's always searching. And it wants to bet on a horse that's going to cross the finish line. And when I say a horse, I mean an individual who's going to go make it happen. And I look out in this crowd. I got to talk to 4 tables tonight, and I met a lot of good horses that are ready to go make it happen. So in addition to North Star, which I founded about 15 years ago, and I was telling you a little about the story with my wife, I came home one day and I said, guess what, honey? We're going to take a step backward for a giant leap forward. She goes, well, what does that mean? And I said, well, my calling is to be an entrepreneur. My calling is to create opportunity. And so we saved up enough money that we could live for 18 months. We had an extra $500 that just in case everything, fell apart, I could go down to Mexico and hang out for a few weeks, have a few margaritas, come back. And we started North Star Commercial Partners in a few hundred square feet above Ted's Montana Grill down on Larimer Square. And it was crazy. Who was I to go out and start my own company? Who was I not to go out and start my own company? And so we've been blessed and fortunate, and we built up North Star to be one of the main buyers of vacant real estate here, not only in Colorado, but around the country. In addition to North Star, we own a few other companies. A couple of the oldest manufacturing companies in Colorado, the Denver Tent Company and the Colorado Tent Company. They're 118-year-old businesses. I bought a company out of bankruptcy called Classic Party Rentals. You may have remembered that one. Turned it into Colorado Party Rentals, kept those people employed. And so now we're the second largest event rental company, tables, linens, and chairs, all those things that we rent out. Started a couple of other companies. And we're blessed and fortunate to employ over 150 people in the state today. Doesn't matter necessarily about the number. What matters is we're creating some opportunity for some people to go have the dignity to go to work, to get a paycheck, to pay their mortgages, to send their kids to school, to achieve their dreams, whatever that looks like for them. Notice I didn't say to achieve my dream, because frankly, it's not about me. I'm just a conduit to try to create that opportunity. And I would encourage each of you to consider that as well. The heart of my commercial real estate business is taking abandoned properties and revitalizing them. See, when I got my degree at CU, I guess I missed the class that told me I was supposed to go buy a building with tenants in it, with income. I missed that class. I don't know what I was doing. And so I go out and buy vacant buildings, which is crazy, and try to find that diamond in the rough and to create jobs and opportunity in the community. You see, I learned a long time ago that as an entrepreneur, if you can take your passion and connect it with your profession, something magical happens. So think of what your passions are. It may be liberty, it may be whatever it is, creating opportunity, freedom. Think about what your passion is. What is your seed right now in your heart? We all have it. Figure out how you can turn that into your profession, and you'll never work another day in your life. You won't. I don't have to go to work in the morning. I get to go to work in the morning. Think about that mind shift, right? Now, we all can't start our own companies, I get it. But what can you do in your own home life? What can you do to help other causes that are out there? Turn your passion into your profession. Combine the two together. They don't have to be in separate compartments. Oftentimes, we're just talking about the political comment back there with Ruby, and I run into people oftentimes, they say, well, you know what, I'm not political. Really? Well, just want to ask you a couple questions, if you don't mind, since you're not political. Do you live? Do you breathe? Do you have a house? Do you have kids? Do you work? You're involved in politics whether you want to be or not. The only question at hand is, are you getting involved to have a say, to have an impact? Or are you just being a tool in the process of government? Ask yourself that question. In our buildings, we create jobs and opportunity. One of the recent buildings that I bought from a lender down in the Tech Center is the Innovation Pavilion. Anyone ever heard of the Innovation Pavilion? Anyone? So the Innovation Pavilion was owned by a lender. I took it back in the down economy. And I went in and bought that building. And in the Innovation Pavilion, over 80 companies, 80, have been created in the last year and a half or so. The youngest entrepreneur is in middle school. The oldest is in his 80s. Now, I don't see anyone in middle school here, younger than middle school, I don't think. Anyone? I feel like I'm 80 and older, but I don't see too many people. Each one of you can do it. Age is irrelevant. And these companies come in there and they incubate. So you can go down there if you have a vision, and you can hang out in the coffee shop for free and drink coffee. Once you get your idea going, then you can rent a cubicle or an office space, and you can make your company thrive. Now, I don't own the Innovation Pavilion business. I bought the building, partly because I wanted to see the Innovation Pavilion thrive and succeed, versus having a lender own an asset out of state, could care less what was going on in that building. Another building that we recently acquired is just over the street here on East Colfax. Another lender-owned building, vacant. Again, missed that class. And the reason I bought that is I met some gentlemen at the Innovation Pavilion who were African business owners. They left their family, they left everything they had, everything that they knew in their comfort zone, and they traveled to this country in search of the great American dream. See, it still exists out there. People still believe in that shining city upon the hill. And so we bought this building, vacant, and these guys had been working to try to get a location for 7 years. Imagine a dream for 7 years. Anyone had a dream for 7 years that hasn't come to fruition yet? Come on. We all have dreams that haven't come to fruition in 7 years. And so we came alongside and we believed in their heart, we believed in their mettle. And we bought this building, and now they're turning it into the Afric Mall. And see, there's 150,000 Africans within a 5-mile radius of this building. Again, people who risked everything to come here. And so in this building, they're going to have a food court where you can try food from the Ivory Coast to Ethiopia, which is one of my weaknesses, the Ethiopian food. Have you ever had that? It's not pretty to see me in front of that. To business incubators that'll be in there. And to help these Africans realize the American dream, to realize the principles that you know and hold dear here tonight. And they're going to achieve that through opportunity, not through a government check, but the chance to go out and make something of their lives. They say that many of the immigrant community have a higher chance of achieving success and wealth in America than the people in this room who have been here their whole lives. Why? Because they come here and they see opportunity everywhere. And they're willing to risk everything. They're willing to live together if they need to, whatever they need to do. And even if the first generation doesn't succeed, they are putting the second generation on their backs to succeed. My grandfather came from Switzerland, and he was a boxer in New York City. That's what he did for a living. My grandmother came from Denmark, and she worked in the sweatshops of New York City making hats. They saved up enough money, and they worked hard, and they were taken advantage of, and it wasn't a pretty environment where they lived. And they saved up enough money to become the first American entrepreneurs in our family, and they created the little Switzerland of America, which were just some little cabins along the river in upstate New York. And that was their first business. My parents, they started a campground, hunting, preserve, and riding stable, which was their first business. And so I grew up in a family where I had no choice but to become an entrepreneur, because that's what we talked about around the dinner table at night. Not what you were going to go out and who you were going to work for, not that there's anything wrong with that, and I think it's very admirable. But what were you going to go out and create? What were you going to go out and do? So this Afric Mall all started with an abandoned furniture store and a commitment to do something for the community. You can see why the Liberty Labs program appeals to me. Your initiatives are going to make great things happen in our community, state, and nation. I absolutely believe it. I want to support you in your efforts, and as we begin the weekend, I thought I would share some lessons I have learned along the way that I believe might be helpful to you. And Lord knows I do not have the corner on knowledge and all experience. I'm just giving you my glimpse of what I've gone through. Let me preface this by saying there is no magic wand you can wave to make things easier or guarantee your success. In fact, I think that would make you weak. Embrace those challenges. Let them soak in. Learn from them. They'll make you better. And with a clear plan, hard work, and real dedication to the cause, I can't stress that enough, you will find success. One of the other quotes that I like, that I live my life by, found it when I was in high school, is that success is not final and failure is not fatal. You see, sometimes in life we all have this vision of, well, when I get to this point, or when I make X, or when I do Y, well, then I'll have reached nirvana. I'll have reached success, and everything will be great. And then the other side of it says, but what if I fail? What is my family going to think? What is the community going to think? And see, I believe you can never fail if you try. One of the little poems that I hold up in my office is Teddy Roosevelt's quote. I'm sure you've all probably seen it before. It's about the man in the arena. Anybody ever seen this before? Anyone? You should get a copy of it. And he talks about the man in the arena who's going on in the fight, who has blood and dirt on him, who's being beat down. And see, the people up in the stands, they can ridicule, they can laugh. They don't understand what that person's going through because they never got out of their seat. They never went down to the arena floor. They never competed. They never tried. So I want to encourage you. Success is not final. Your definition of success is going to change. The more success you achieve in life, the more it's going to change of what that looks like for you. But do understand, failure is never fatal. In fact, I would submit the only failure in life is to never try at all. Anybody can do that, right? As Thoreau famously said, if one advances confidently in the direction of his dreams and endeavors the life which he has imagined, he will meet with a success unexpected in common hours. First, you need to know your enterprise is different from the competition. Really different. In this area, you cannot fool yourself. So think about your company, your goal, your objective right now. Picture it. Is it really different, or is it just more of the same? I guarantee the employees at Pepsi believe their soda is much different than Coke. Do you guys agree with that, disagree? I'm sure.
I disagree with that.
I know. My wife is one of those people who has to have a Coke every day. Okay, there you go. But frankly, at the end of the day, they are both cola drink options. Much of the real difference between the two, and we've seen those different taste studies and everything, is in the marketing spin. So let me give you an example for North Star. When I started the company, I went out and bought the excess non-strategic real estate from corporate America, the stuff they no longer wanted. Their discarded properties, that's what I bought. So Benjamin Moore Paints, they sold off to Berkshire Hathaway. I bought their real estate around the country, old manufacturing facilities, etc. What was once a manufacturing facility was now a great redevelopment for a condo opportunity to create housing for people in the inner city. That's the type of thing we did with that. And unlike a lot of real estate people, I advertised myself as I bought vacant property. But then all of a sudden, I said, you know what? What is my passion? My passion is buying existing buildings and enhancing their utility versus going out and developing something out in new land. Just my personal passion. And my passion is creating jobs and opportunity. You see, from the moment we buy a building, we create opportunity. We're that stone in the pond of a still pond that we go out and buy a building and we hire people, surveyors and engineers, And then we hire contractors who are going and improving the buildings. And then we go out and we get people to locate in there for jobs. So we started to say, you know what? We're not just an opportunistic buyer of commercial real estate. What we are is a company that likes to go buy vacant buildings and put them into productivity to create jobs and opportunity, connecting my profession with my passion. And that gets me out of bed every single morning. One of the buildings we bought here close to town, we were just talking about it, is the Cherry Creek Place office building, Parker and 225. You know the big black buildings that sit there, a Red Lion Hotel? There's a radio station in there or two. And we bought that building vacant. Back in 2009, when capitalism itself was up for discussion. Do you remember those stories? Is capitalism going to be the thing that America is going to go on and continue to do? Well, I didn't know capitalism was up for discussion. Did anybody else know that was up for discussion?
I didn't know it actually existed.
One of the greatest systems to free humanity and to create opportunity, and we're going to put that up for discussion? Really? I didn't know that was up for discussion. So we bought that vacant building. And we bought it in a crazy time. People said, why are you buying a vacant building in the worst economy in the Great Recession? Well, it's what we do, and we wanted to create jobs. And we were fortunate to secure a few leases there, ADT and some others. And now there's 1,000 people who work in that building. 1,000 people with mortgages, 1,000 people that are renting, whatever it might be. People that are chasing down their dream. And that's what we do as a company. We see this, though, in politics, too. I remember when Bill Ritter was running for governor, he talked about being the business governor. Do you remember that? Anyone? Anyone that old? Anyway. He had been a district attorney for most of his life, but he believed he could convince us of his business acumen. Was Governor Ritter really different from his Democratic primary opponent? Once elected, he wasn't the business governor, was he? No, many of his actions were actually tough on business and held it back. He was really focused on green energy and his own agenda. A lot of people come to me with business and liberty promoting ideas. Mostly they are looking for funding. I am always open to hearing about these ideas. However, I am listening for the innovative and unique ideas in each of these opportunities, especially those ideas that can create a dramatic, positive impact for the people. See, if somebody comes to you and they're trying to give you an idea and it's all about them and it's all about their money and all these other wonderful things, I'd beware. I care about the people who are doing it for the right reasons and are trying to make an impact for others. You see, if you do the right thing and you do it every day, the money will follow. It will. Second, being able to express the essence of your organization is key. You must be able to articulate to people what it is that you are doing in a way that truly engages them. Notice it engages them. It's not about you. It's not about me. It's about the people that you're going out to serve. You do that every day, you won't work another day in your life, and you won't have to worry about a paycheck. It will be there. You don't have to be a great public speaker to be able to share your vision with others. You do have to be clear and concise. Bill O'Reilly likes to tell his viewers about making their emails pithy, and that applies to your efforts too. There is this idea of an elevator speech. We talked about that. And I think you did a good job, by the way. You got it done in 2 floors, I just want to say. An elevator speech means to have an introduction to your program or effort that is short, something that you can express in the time that it takes to ride an elevator a couple of floors. Try it sometime. It's not a lot of time, but that's what you have to be able to do. You have to be able to grab someone's attention quickly, especially in the environment where there's so much noise and there's so much clutter. What differentiates you? What makes you unique? What makes you different? Practice that. You know, I learned that kind of the hard way when I was a broker at Cushman & Wakefield. My training program was there's a phone, contacts influentials in the back, and by the way, that's when it was a book. We didn't have this thing called the internet. And so my senior partners, they gave me a stack of flyers, and it was pretty pictures of a building. And my job was to start at the top of a building and knock on every single door of every single tenant on every single floor all the way down and create a prospect list. One time, my first cold call, and I came from the Western Slope, was up at the cash register building, and I thought I'd be really kind of cute about this. Instead of taking the elevator, I'll just use the stairwell. So I got in the stairwell, and I went down from, I think it was 56 down to 55, and 55, the door's locked, 54, 53. I had to walk the entire length down in the building. And when I got down at the bottom of the building, the security guard's there and was gladly to show me out on my ear out of the building and said, you're not allowed to cold call our tenants in our building. So that was my training ground. But in that process, I had to learn to go up to a receptionist, to a decision maker, to whoever it was that encountered me in that lobby and come up with a succinct elevator pitch of why I was there and why they should potentially move their tenancy to our other building. I even do that today. As we're out buying properties, I have to deal with investors or lenders or whatever it might be. I have to come up with an elevator pitch that meets them right there and then. So think about your elevator pitch, what that looks like, and why it should be differentiated. I love the expression, I just asked you what time it is, not how to build a watch. Anybody knows people like that you ask them a simple question and they teach you how to build a watch, and all you want to know what time it was? That is the problem for us when we're excited about something. We start to share all the background and miss getting to the real point. The term that I use in my own business and world is land your plane. Any pilots in here? Okay. I'm not a pilot. Probably wouldn't be pretty if I was because I sleep on planes. Love to do it. But what I mean by land your plane is that when you meet somebody or when you're leaving a voicemail message, you have an opportunity to land the plane. Notice I didn't say crash and burn the plane, not to hit the ground too hard, but land your plane. Voicemail is one of the greatest gifts to business, I think, around. And people often misuse it. How many calls do you get? Do you say, hey, this is Sally, and call me at this number? Sally missed a great opportunity. When you're prospecting for your new clients, voicemail is powerful. You get the opportunity to leave an uninterrupted elevator pitch on someone's voicemail. If you're nervous about it, get a hot cup of coffee, hold it in your hand, whatever you need to do to calm down, but land your plane. Don't destroy it on the runway. It's an awesome opportunity. Third, there are approaches to investing and creating value that are more credible than others. Here's some lessons that I have learned. Number one, going into the opportunity, whatever it is, your company, venture, investment, think about the exit and outcome going in. What does success look like for you? And when I say what does success look like for you, I'm saying shoot for the moon. I mean, paint your picture of what is your ideal world, whatever that looks like for you. Maybe your family life, maybe your business, whatever it is. Paint that awesome picture of what it looks like. Now, oftentimes we're not going to hit that, right? But it sure is a good goal to aim for, even if you fall up short. Oftentimes people, they think of their idea and they say, well, I'm just going to kind of put it together and kind of figure it out as I go. And, well, unfortunately, when you don't have any direction, your result is going to end up where you're just lost out in the woods. So think of that exit. Now, that is going to change as you go on with your project. What success looks like for you, how it's going to be defined. But paint that picture right now. Second, treat everyone you meet with kindness and respect. I know that's kind of a kindergarten kind of deal, but I believe it. You learn a lot about the character of an individual, how they treat the CEO, maybe, but more importantly, how they treat the janitor, how they treat the person at the front desk counter, how they treat the individual that they have absolutely nothing to gain from. That's the true character of an individual. Everybody has shoes that they're walking in, right? And then there's a lot of hard stories out there and tough times. Have compassion. Show people love, show people kindness. And I think when you do that, awesome things happen, especially when you don't want anything out of it. Number 3, do everything as if it would show up on the front page of the newspaper tomorrow morning. How would we live our lives different if all of us did that one, huh? But think about it. If you had an opportunity to cut someone, opportunity to put a little bit of money on the counter, whatever it might be, how would you feel if that showed up on the front page of the paper? Do the right thing, even when nobody's looking. I also want to encourage you about a little lesson that I learned a while ago about converting from success to significance. See, oftentimes in the world, we deem this idea of what is success, and we're caught up in success, whatever that looks like for you. It may be a different thing. It's different for every person. But try to convert that to say, it's not so much about success, it's about significance. How can I impact somebody's life for the better? When you go home tonight, it may be your significant other. It may be your children. It may be your employees. It may be your interactions here this weekend. But think about significance and making a significant impact. That the day that you leave this planet, and none of us are getting out of here alive in a physical form last time I checked, what is your significant impact that you're going to leave behind? How will people remember you? You say, I learned at a very young age. When I was 16 years of age, my father went away healthy one morning, 39 years of age, my stepfather. And that night he came home and died on the floor in front of me. And I did everything I could to save him, and I didn't. And that day, I learned, we don't know how much longer we have on this planet. None of us do. So let people around you know that how you care about them, how you love them. You may disagree with them. And I'm not trying to be Pollyanna here, but I am saying it's important because you just don't know how long you have. None of us do. When you win the $500 from Liberty Labs, you want to invest it well. You want to create the maximum amount of value. The same is true for your time. Time is your most precious resource, and you need to use it wisely. We have a limited amount of time, and not all minutes of the day are created equally. Invest each one of them wisely. I am a husband and father. For me, time with my wife and children is one of the most important ways that I can invest the hours of my life. Of course, we also need to make a living and be a contributing member of society. That means we work and invest our time adding something of value to the community. It is probable that this Liberty work you are doing is in addition to your regular work, and most people I met here tonight have a day job, and they're trying to make their Liberty thing in the evening, and God bless you for it. It's awesome. My wife and I, before we got married, we had premarital counseling, not because we had any issues per se, but because we wanted to try to work on the issues we might have down the road. And in that premarital counseling, and it was done at our church, and again, whatever one's faith background is your own thing, but they taught us some valuable lessons that we have used in our marriage, and going on 18 years of marriage, I'd just like to share that with you in terms of a perspective that you might want to consider. First, you need to decide what is in the center of your life. What are you putting in the center of your life? What is the most important thing to you? See, oftentimes people put money, kids, whatever it might be, and they find it sometimes be lacking. And so what we decided to do is to put God in the center of our relationship. And again, whether it ever is for you, for us, it was God. So God is in the center of our relationship and our relationship with the Creator. The second ring for us is my relationship with my wife. And to make sure that that's healthy and to make sure we're not only married, but we actually like each other. Novel concept. The third ring for us is our children. See, their children are a welcome part of it, but they are not the center. They are not the focus. The fourth ring for us is community and family. And the last ring, for me, the least important of all of those when you stack them up, is business. And see, for me, that outer ring is what helps propel the inner rings. Through my business, I can hopefully have a positive impact on my community and my family by investing and creating jobs and opportunity, maybe helping financially, whatever it might be. I can help my kids, my wife. I can give. I can make a positive impact. So just think about that for your own life, whatever that looks like for you. What's in the center and what's on the outer rings? It does make a difference. Finally, whether they are employees, volunteers, or supportive family and friends, focus on developing your skill of leading teams. See, at North Star, we have a few principles that we hold dear. The first is we work really hard, but we try to work smart. You see, where I come from on the Western Slope, I've dug a lot of ditches in my day. Anyone dug an irrigation ditch at all? Okay. It's back-breaking work. And you get some blisters, and it's a lot of work. And what I learned is that if I dug the best ditch, the straightest ditch, every single day of my life, was I really getting ahead or making an impact? But if I had a tool, maybe a plow, that could help me dig that ditch faster versus using a shovel, should I not use that? Again, work hard, but work smart. Use the tools that are around you. We all have them. Another thing that we believe in is communication. Communicate. You can't be an island. Even an island is connected to the mainland in some way, right? Not to get a little Tony Robbins on you there, but it is. Communicate. The next that we always do at North Star, how do we, every single day that we go into the office, how do we become better, smarter, faster? And you see, we have respect with unlimited opportunity at the firm. Everybody has a voice. And encourage people around you. There's people that have different paradigms and views around you, and sometimes you can be so blinded going at your goal that you don't see the minefield around you. So encourage those around you, your family, your friends, to communicate with you and to tell you what's going on, and to encourage them to do that and to reward them to do that. Because if you don't, you're going to be charging out on the field and you're going to look around one day and there ain't going to be nobody around you. And that's not a good place to be, especially when you're going into battle. I was humbled by the volunteer support I received when I ran for the State House in 2012. They say you never know how many friends you have until it's time to move. I would take that up a notch and say, well, you find out who your friends are when you run for public office, because when you're running for office, there's not a lot of people around to maybe help you knock on doors and some other things. I had been managing employees for years prior to that campaign, and I applied the lessons I had learned. We had a campaign plan and scheduled, and everyone knew where we were going and how we were going to get there. It's about empowerment, not micromanagement, right? Can every one of you do every single thing that you need to do in your company and your idea? Can you do it? You probably can. But is that a good use, smart use of your time? You can't. Empower others. Do more together. You'll be stronger for it. In addition, however, I committed to working harder than anyone else on the campaign, just as I do in my company. My friends needed to see me arrive early and stay late, walk one more block late into the evening, and make one more phone call before the day ended. How can I ask the people that are with me to do something that I'm unwilling to do myself? How can I ask for somebody to get in a foxhole with me if I'm not one to jump in first? They also needed the emotional intelligence piece from me. I needed to be optimistic about our chances to include everyone in ways that worked for them. Everybody has a different value to bring to the table. Not everybody's made the same, and be thankful for that. Find out what their skill set is and empower them. It's a beautiful thing to see people blossom when they're in an environment that they're respected, that they're wanted, that they're loved, frankly. And I know a term like loved maybe isn't a business term, but you know what it is at our companies. So let me just wrap up here. We are here to help you launch your liberty advancing idea this spring. Now, because the clock is ticking. Every day there is bad news about the economy and education, a constant barrage of new rules and regulations and taxes, and continued infringement on our constitutional rights. Every single day. Because of this, I founded the Opportunity Coalition. You see, after I ran for office, and our race was one of the top contested races in the state and one of the top 50 identified by the opposition in the country. They threw everything, I would say, but the kitchen sink at us, but they took the kitchen sink out of the wall and threw that at us as well. And it was a great experience. And the next day, by 5:30 in the morning after election night, do you remember 2012 and what that was like for everybody? Kind of an interesting time. Took the wind out of some sails. The next morning, by 5:30 in the morning, where was I? Not licking my wounds. Not good at that. I was back in the office, working, because that's what I do. And I think the opposition hoped that we'd crawl in a hole somewhere and go away, but it only redoubled our efforts. Because you know what? It's not about me. It wasn't about our campaign. It's about what we have in America, which is unique and special, and we were just one piece and part of it. And you see, if we can't have an impact at the state capitol, we're still going to have an impact. Because that's what we do as entrepreneurs in this room. So the Opportunity Coalition is a nonprofit. We have a meeting the third Thursday of every month. We have speakers from around the state. And what I learned is that people are disconnected in the state of Colorado. I come from the Western Slope. Ask yourself, if you live in the Front Range here, how many people do you know in Trinidad? How about Grand Junction, Olathe, Montrose? And the answer is, the further you get out from your sphere, the less people you know. And there's a lot of great people in the state doing a lot of great things. And so we created this organization where a speaker comes in. This next one we're going to have is Tom Shane. You've probably heard his voice on the radio. Few people have met him in person. It's kind of freaky when you hear him talk, I'm not going to lie. And yeah, so you got a ring from them. And so Tom Shane's going to come in. He has created the largest privately owned jewelry company in the United States. And do you know where he started? Right here in Colorado. That's awesome. And I think Tom has some wisdom to pass on. And so we bring people together, and the purpose is to just network, and I want people to create jobs, I want people to get business, I want people to create new initiatives and ideas. And I want to encourage each of you to check out the Opportunity Coalition, and you can learn more at theopportunitycoalition.com. And do you know what I get out of that on a salary basis? Nothing. It's not about me. It's about getting people together and creating opportunity and change. It will take true liberty-advancing efforts to slow down the advance of statism in our country and begin to rebuild a nation of, by, and for the people. I believe your innovative ideas will work together to help us form a more perfect union. To be truly successful, you need passion, hard work, and a commitment to the fundamentals of entrepreneurial success. Be sure you create true value and do that in ways that others do not. Be a great leader, no matter what kind of people are involved in your program, no matter who's telling you no. Do everything you can to differentiate your enterprise from the competition. And be sure you express the essence of your organization through every communication. Remember, land your plane. These are tried and true principles, a bit like our wonderful founding principles, that will serve you well. Someone might read my early history and think I would still be working the farm in Olathe. And I was well on my way as president of Future Farmers of America and the guy who won the sheep showing contest at the county fair. By the way, showing sheep is fun, for those who care. Talk about it later. What they could not know is how much passion and energy I bring to my work and life every day, and how I hope to bring a positive impact to as many people as I possibly could. You see, my parents told me when I was young, Brian, you're blessed if you could impact one life for the better. If you can impact 2, 5, 100, 1 million, so be it. That's not the measuring stick. Focus on one and see what happens. I want to encourage each of you to look at, you probably already had that impact, but who can you positively impact in your life? I know you have that same passion and energy for the work that is ahead of you. I want to give another quote, my second quote, as I promised you for 20 years in the interior of my binder, and it's from Hamlet. I'm a Shakespeare freak, sorry. We know what we are, but know not what we may be. We know what we are, but know not what we may be. You all are sitting there tonight, you know what you are. You got that burning desire inside of you? Just think what you can become. Think what you can start. I wish you all the best in your efforts and remind you that the time is now. Your time is now. Our time is now. Thank you all very much. Thank you.
You guys are all taking notes, at least mentally, if not on paper. All right, let's go ahead and do some Q&A. Who's got a question for Brian? Who wants to go first? Yes, sir.
Well, it's not really a question. It's a request. Your speech is so brimful of wonderful ideas. Would
Thank you.
it not be possible to post it?
The video of his speech?
Oh, is there a video?
We actually are recording it, yes, so we will have a video of this later if you want to
And will it be
watch it
online,
again.
or
We'll post it online, yes. I'll make sure your son gets it to you.
and we know where to find it?
Yeah, well, it'll be on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Liberty on the Rock.
Well, you're very kind, but my guess is I could probably learn more from you than what I spoke about tonight. So, but thank you very much. It's kind of you.
Anybody have questions?
I'd like to know what your biggest mistake or biggest failure was, what you learned from it. Would you take the same chances that got you there again, and why?
That's a great question. So, my biggest mistake probably in my career was bringing people into the organization for not necessarily the right reasons. And so oftentimes, we have family members, we have friends that we want to help, we want to create opportunity for. And we bring them in and we put them in roles that we assume that they can handle or figure out. And that all the time doesn't work out. And so for us in the down economy, you have to realize I started the company with an assistant and 400 square feet and a sublease above Ted's Montana Grill, as I told you. I built the organization up into 2008 with the economic crash. And then all of a sudden, we went through the greatest recession that anyone had seen in our lifetime. Was anyone affected by that recession, by the way, in a negative way? Maybe. We all were, right? It was a bloodbath. And it was tough. And what I learned at that is that when things are good, you got a lot of friends. Things are good, right? When the bullets start flying and the mines go off and you start losing limbs and appendages on the battlefield, you realize who your real friends are and who's going to be there. And so for me, though it was painful to have some of that, it was actually a very rewarding experience because I truly learned the old saying of you know who your friends are. And my wife and I grew even stronger through the down economy together because we had to work almost 24 hours a day, it felt like, just to stay afloat. And it was a great experience and a positive experience, but it was painful. And then the thing in life I would submit is that we all go through things, right? It might be divorce, it might be you lose your job, it might be a promotion. But the question is, did you learn anything from it, right? That's the key. And so for me, looking back, I am thankful for the down economy, even though it was painful, and even so I'm still making up for it today. But it was an interesting experience. It's a great question. Yes?
What challenges would you say that you had in making some of the strategic partnerships that really gave you that leverage coming from just going from working out of numbers one-on-one to the strategic partnerships?
You bet. Well, I would encourage you that each of you have a unique gift and something special. And you have an idea that somebody else wants and needs and wants to invest in. And see, for me originally, little boy from Olathe, I had my hat in hand, and I was going to people and trying to hope that they would invest in me and everything like that. And what I realized after a while is that, you know what? Without that entrepreneur, without that spark, not much happens. And I had something unique to offer. And so instead of with my hat in hand all the time, I started to approach it with a little more confidence. To say, you know what? I've got this opportunity, I have this vision, I have whatever it might be. Be honored if you'd consider investing alongside of us. But if you don't, this train is still going to leave the station. This train is still going to go have an impact. And so that was a good wake-up call for me personally. It's not about arrogance. It's not about going too far. But believe in yourself, because you have a unique gift and spark to offer. And when you come to that realization, you will find that money and talent and all kinds of wonderful things will open their doors to you. So that would be the main one. And I guess the final one that I would add to that is I started a long time ago to approach things as a vision of abundance. You see, most people in the world, they think we live under a single slice of pie, right? Our president thinks that, right? So if I have a piece of pie and I get a bite of that pie, well then by golly, I'm taking a bite from you and maybe you over there. And that's just, well, you know, it's not fair, right? You see, we're in the pie-making business. Just go make more pies. Think about a mentality of abundance. There will always be deals out there. There will always be causes out there. And to approach each one is to say, what can I do to add value, not what am I going to get from it? You see, on each real estate deal that I buy, I'm not trying to get wealthy or make a mortgage payment off of one real estate deal. I want to create many partnerships and many collaborations, and through that, good things will happen. You plant enough seeds, you fertilize it, you water it, you'll reap fruit for many, many years to come. But if you could approach each interaction that you have with how can I bless or benefit the other person? Think about that for a second. What could happen? I'll tell you, people appreciate it and they respect it. So, any other questions? Yeah.
Do you have a book recommendation that we might not otherwise get?
Well, I love reading. It's one of my favorite things. I'd like to get some from you as well. There's a few favorite books that I have, but one that I would recommend to you is What's So Great About America by Dinesh D'Souza. Anyone ever read that book? Anyone? Sometimes it takes someone from outside of our culture to explain to us just how good we have it, right? So for those that don't know Dinesh, he's from India. And I've been to India. Anyone been to India before? Yeah. I love India, and I keep a little picture of a girl in India. And the reason I do that is you realize when you come from India just how oppressive certain systems that humanity puts in place are. And see, Dinesh came from that. He wasn't in the higher class, wasn't in the chosen class. And he came to this country and he made something for himself. And in 200 pages, he distills what's so great about America. And it's a very powerful read. The other book that I'd recommend to you is The Mystery of Capital by Hernando de Soto. I don't know if anyone read that at all. He asked the question, why is America different than all these other countries? You know, was it our natural resources? Was it our Judeo-Christian work ethic? What was it that made America so great and such an economic powerhouse for freedom in the world? And his summation is kind of interesting at the end of the day, and I recommend it highly.
What was the first one?
What's So Great About America by Dinesh D'Souza, and The Mystery of Capital by Hernando de Soto. And I'd be honored to get any recommendations from you all.
I would like to add there, has anybody here read the book Bionomics by Michael Rothschild?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, in this book he takes and compares the natural world, and natural selection to the business world and the way that capitalism works.
Interesting.
And it's absolutely amazing the parallels he draws between the two.
I love it. Well, I don't know if all of you know, but that gentleman right there, you're an author as well. Not many people can say that. I know I can't say that. So hats off to you.
But I didn't write a book about economics, so I wrote a science fiction vampire.
You know what? You know what? You went out and did it. You went out and did it. You know, I will encourage all of you to look at reading. We're all so busy we don't have time. And one of the things that I did is to just get, back in the day, books on tape. I don't know if they even have that. The audio books. Turn your car into a university. You get a moment to be in the minds of some great people and to learn those golden nuggets. Me personally, I will go anywhere to meet someone to learn their golden nuggets of wisdom. See, I'd much rather have somebody's knowledge than their money all day long. And I try to figure out how I can take what they have done in their world and how does it apply to my world and what I'm trying to do. You can learn so much from a cab driver. You can learn so much from a janitor. You can learn so much from your own family. Just encourage you just to listen. Anyone else?
I have a question.
Yep.
So, for somebody who, I know you mentioned that you basically saved up money for 18 months to be able to learn the
Yep.
entrepreneurship thing. And I know people do that. What do you say to people that feel they're not able to leave their jobs, or they really want to start something? Do you think that there's more than one way to do it, or do you really feel you have to devote 100% of your time if you're going to start a business?
Yeah, I don't think you have to, jump in completely. I think that you want to be smart about it because you do have responsibilities to your family and those kind of things. There's been many entrepreneurs who have put it all on the line, and what is it? Invention is the mother of necessity, or necessity is the mother of invention. That how it goes, and it's there's some truth to that. But you want to be smart because you are talking about your economic freedom as well. So where you can start and begin to cultivate a business and learn from others and begin to work on it at night, on the weekends, etc., and then test it out, you can absolutely do it. I'd also encourage you to go seek others. I can tell you right now, most entrepreneurs find it very gratifying and they want to help when somebody comes and says, you know what, how did you do it? Tell me, give me some advice. See, most people go to those individuals saying, give me money, invest in my company. Go seek their wisdom. And through wisdom, you won't need anybody else's money, number one, eventually. But eventually, they'll probably even want to invest alongside of you because, again, you're unique and different. So I don't think it has to be either or. But at the same time, follow your dreams, whatever that looks like for you. I encourage you to do it. Anyone else? Well, again, thank you all. Honored to be here and appreciate it, and best of luck to you. Go make it happen. Appreciate it.